Fighting talk back again, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Reece Mcewan ahead of his bout against Daan Duijs at Cage Warriors 152 on April the 14th in Manchester. Reece, a return to Manchester, it was all right for you there the last time, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It was good. Last year, 3 fights, two of them in Manchester. So, start this year off in Manchester, where I started last year and ended it.
Yeah. Before we look forward then to this upcoming fight, I thought it'd be cool because you did, like you say, had a very, very active year last year. To go back and just have a little look at those fights that you had. So as you mentioned there, first up, of course, the Sam Spencer fight in Manchester. For you, you were coming into that for the first time off the back of a loss. I
Yeah,
know you put a post out, maybe I think it was a couple of weeks after that loss, saying about your favorite thing is seeing how a fighter responds from that, from the adversity, and that it was your time to do it. So, what were
yeah.
your thoughts going into that? In where's your head at going into a fight like that, knowing that you want to come back strong with a big win, and of course, your first one on Cage Warriors?
So I was meant to fight in a local show in Glasgow on February 19th. I still remember the date. I think I was going to be like the main event because I would have sold the show out basically, and they couldn't get me a fight. And then it was up till about maybe 3 weeks before the event where the promoter was like, "Look, we're not getting you a fight. Nobody's taking it. There's nobody for you and stuff." And I was like, "Oh, here we go." So I was like, "This can't be the narrative of my career here. Like, I'm trying to get fights to local shows, and I'm struggling. So I think the next logical step is to go and find a management company." And I've done some research internally and externally, and I came across Sucker Punt Management. And then I told them what I wanted out of like my career, and they decided to sign me. And then they said, "Look, do you want the April 1st or April 2nd Cage Warriors cards?" And I was like, "What? What are you on about?" Like almost like I didn't think that opportunity would come around. So then they says, "Right, okay, you'll be on for April 2nd Manchester. We're looking for an opponent for you." I thought, "Oh my, right, here we go then." And then when Sam Spencer came through, like we watched him, we thought stylistically it was a really hard matchup for me. But at the end of the day, I took it with open arms.
Touching on that then, on the management company, you are still relatively young in your pro career. How important do you think it is for guys in the position that you were last year, trying to get on these local shows, not being able to do it, to go out there and ultimately find the right management company? I mean, look, Sucker Punch now, what most recently Jamal Hill winning that title, they're a big, big
Yeah,
company. So how important is it then, do you think, for these pros that are then looking to make the step from the domestic scene onto these bigger European shows to get a management company behind them?
I think it's huge to have that, because I think you want to. It's just like but when you're training, you're doing your martial arts training. You want to put the that aspect into professionals, into the hands of professionals. I'm not a professional manager. I've not been there. I've not done that, and these guys have like a ridiculous amounts of fighters at the top levels, at the levels that I want to go. You've seen Jamal Hill go win the UFC world title. That's what I want to go and achieve. So when I'd done my research, I knew that they had good relationships in the European market as well as the American market and on the world stage. So and then I asked a few of the fighters that were managed by them, and they couldn't speak highly enough of them. So I think it's really important, especially when you're struggling to get fights. As an amateur, I was struggling to get fights, but that's why my record's full of like top amateurs. So I was like, yeah, I'll fight anyone. I don't really care. And when it came to the pro scene, I was really struggling to get fights as well. Even from my first, second, and third fight. My third fight more so, I had two pullouts. One pullout was like 5 days before the event. The other pullout was like 3 weeks before the event. And then I thought, like, I'm not getting any fights in Scotland. In England, I'm not getting any fights either. So in the UK, that's completely disregarding that. And also, I'm seeing people who I've either beaten or I think I'm better than getting opportunities that I'm not. And I can't get those opportunities because I can't get the fight. So I need to delegate that to a big management company to get me good fights.
So then on the fight itself, and I guess you got your hand raised, got yourself back in the win column. How nice was that for you?
It was incredible, but see, to be honest, like the win wasn't. I wasn't going there to win. I was going there to finish the fight. Obviously had a very good first round, really bad second round, and a really good third round. But going into the third round, I remember saying to myself, if you want this as much as you want, as much as you think you do, you need to get a finish. So when I got that, like the whole round, I was honestly looking for a finish. And when I got the rear naked choke, like I squeezed it. It was like I was squeezing for somebody said that to me. It's like you're squeezing for your future. And that's why I was so happy. And then I walked over to Dan Hardy and said, I want that bonus.
And then look, you talk about taking them hard fights. I mean, the next one up, that Kingsley Crawford fight, he was on a total purple patch. I think he was on the best run of his career with them three back-to-back wins against solid opponents.
Yeah.
It was a gritty fight. It was a tough fight that did go the distance. And I think the first time in your pro career, you went the distance as well.
Yeah.
What was that like for you then, standing there? Did you feel you'd done enough? And what feelings and emotions are you going through when you're waiting for Harold Chaplin to read out the judges' scorecards?
So the referee put her two hands up at the same time, and I turned to the referee. I said, "This is a draw, isn't it?" Because I just didn't know. I had no idea how the rounds would have been scored. I thought the first was away, and I thought I won the second. And it's easy to say this, but I honestly didn't know how the third round went. I know I dropped him with a head kick, but that was only like 5 seconds of the round, so I thought I don't really know. And then when they said 29-20, when they said 30-27, actually, I thought that's got to be me. There's no way he's taking the second round. And they said 29-28, 29-28, and they said in the blue corner, and I just thought, I was like, I called for this fight, and I knew I was going to win, and I doubted myself so much in the way it, like the build up to it. And I've seen a lot of people say like, I can't believe you're taking that fight so early on and stuff. So like, I proved a lot of people wrong. And that was like such a satisfying win to get my hand raised.
On that then, on the scoring, is that something you as a fighter actively look at and see what is that scoring, or are you more focused on just trying to finish a fight and leave that up to the likes of your Dean Riley in your corner, somebody vastly experienced, to look at the scoring, and if he's thinking this is 50-50, to be telling you to change the game plan to suit the scoring model?
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously you go in, you know how to win the fight, and you obviously want to win the fight with the scoring. You, let's see. You're prepared for 3 rounds to win it over 3 rounds or 5 rounds, whatever you're fighting. You're prepared to go. If it goes to the judges' scorecards, you're prepared to win. But at the end of the day, you're looking for the finish. If it goes to the judges' scorecards, you should have done everything in your power to get that decision win. And obviously in between rounds, my coaches will say that round was yours, or that round was his, or you're 1 round down, it's 1-1. Go out in this round, or go and get this finish. The finish is there. So I didn't actually know that the new judging criteria changed a few years ago in terms of the activity on your back. So it's obviously good to do that. Good for awareness as well. And Mark Goddard gave me the first round against Crawford. And I can see why he gave it now, because I was quite active. But me personally, I'd have gave it to him because he landed a couple of clean elbows. It's just the way it is. So yeah, education and knowledge is amazing.
Then finally, then if we move forward, I was Manchester last time out against Glory. Look, that first round, it was tight. You said, I know we're not going to go over the fight too much because we've already spoke about that. People can find the interview on the channel. But that first round, bit of squeaky bum time for you. But then you got out second round and got that choking in for yourself.
Yeah, no, look, it does look like a tough round, but I was in control despite obviously being in bad position. I knew he wasn't going to finish me. I knew my defense would be good. Although he was positionally tight and he was in control, I knew I could ride that wave out. I could ride that round out, and I would take over as the fight went on. That was a massive thing. I've never felt like that before in a fight. Like, don't worry, you've got another 2 rounds. You'll take over. You're the better fighter. You'll last longer. And to take that into confidence, like the first fight in Cage Warriors, it was all about grit, determination. Whereas that last fight there, I was like, no, I'm the better skill fighter. I will take over as the round goes on. But he did have in a couple of bad spots, to be fair.
I know it was quite a late change in opponent for you as well. I think it was meant to be Adam Wilson initially and then changed to Scolari. What's that like for you to have a change in opponent, even a couple of weeks out, a few weeks out? Because are you then like strategically game planning for an opponent, and then when it changes, you've almost got to go back to square one? Or are you and Dean and the guys at Grip House more focused on you and what you can do in a fight, irrespective of who that opponent's going to be?
We always have, you have to give your opponent the respect and prepare for them accordingly. But every time I get an opponent pull out, I tell like my coach Ian, like Ian Martin, like an opponent pull out, he said this is why we don't invest so much time into the opponents, because they're going to change all the time. He said, who cares about that guy anyway? Like, just wait and see who's going to be next. But Adam pulled out on, so I was meant to fly to Wales to finish my training camp, and he pulled out. I got the message on, no, I went to fly to Wales on Sunday. Flight got delayed. Flight got moved to Tuesday. Monday night, finished training. Adam Wilson's out. I thought, you're having a laugh. You're honestly kidding me on, right? Because I was like, I've just been delayed a day to go finish my camp in Wales. He's pulled out. Then on the Tuesday, I've arrived in Wales. After my first session, he's messaged me to say, sorry mate, hope things are good, but I've been injured the last 3 weeks, but it's too close to the fight. I'm never going to make it. I'm like, mate, you're having a laugh. I was like, it's so nice that you've messaged, but I don't need this right now. And I remember saying when I was there, I was like, I don't have an opponent. This was like 3 days. I don't have an opponent. And Brett John said to me, he's like, trust me, you'll get one. He was like, I had one like a week before a fight. He's like, you will get one. And I was like, oh, no, there's no way I'll get one. There's 10 days out from the fight or something like that. And 2 days later, Cage Warriors came to with Scolari and we got an opponent. So it was good.
With that then, being with Cage Warriors and seeing the way that Ian Dean, Graham, and the team can work to 10 days out, still manage to find your opponent in a good opponent as well at that. Look, I know on the domestic scene it happens and it can't be helped, but you get it a week before pull out, and then they might get matched with somebody who really maybe they shouldn't be. How nice is it to be now on Cage Warriors where they're going to spend day and night trying to find you an opponent up to that level?
Yeah, like you said in the region, so I've got like, I hate saying this term, but I've got a journeyman on my record, but it's because 2 days out from the fight I never had an opponent, and the promoter said to me, like, if you don't take this fight, the show's cancelled. So I know my coach is like, I know you don't want to take it, but this whole show's on you. You've sold so many tickets, the show will get cancelled if you don't. I was like, well, I need to take the fight then, don't I? And I took no satisfaction from it. But with Cage Warriors as well, like that opponent, I remember hearing like he was preparing for Bellator in Milan, and then that got cancelled or the fight fell through. So he was in a training camp. So I remember my coach saying like, this is not just a stand-in, this is a legit guy that could like that is dangerous. So it shows that's why there's levels to the game in terms of management and organisation, and there's a difference between the domestic scene and then the scene like Cage Warriors. And Ian Dean's always got a plan, and he's incredible at what he does.
You touched on him there before, Brett Johns. I've met Brett, I interviewed him a couple of times. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
What, with the experience he's got, what's that like to be training with somebody like that and finishing the camp somewhere down, like with Show MMA or Brett Johns MMA, for you as still an up and coming prospect?
Oh yeah, because you watched I watched Brett from a distance, and I remember I went down to Sunderland. He's the reason why I started training there, because he invited me down. Said you're always welcome down to Wales and stuff. And I remember, mate, I couldn't believe it. Like after when I lost to Westwood down in Sunderland, he pulled me aside and gave me words of encouragement. And I was like, Brett, you're Brett Johns, right? One of the best bantamweights in the world, and you've pulled me aside to pick me up and make sure that I know the bigger picture and give me some bits of advice. And I thought, I said, I'll honestly never forget that moment. And every time I'm down in Wales, whether it's 7 days, 10 or 14, I try and soak up as much information as I can from him, because he's a fountain of knowledge, and he's been there, done that, been to UFC, Bellator, fought the best of the best, beat the best of the best, and yeah, he's incredible. A huge inspiration as well, to be honest.
If we do look forward, then it's another tough matchup for you. Cage Warriors 152.
Yeah.
Look, Dan, I think all three of his last wins have been by way of submission. You've got plenty of subs on your record as well. Is that the sort of fight you think fans can expect, or what are you expecting from him?
Yeah, it's definitely a good test. He's got a good grappling background, and he trains in a very good striking gym. There's not that much footage of him, but he comes with a good record. He comes from a good gym, and I expect a really well-rounded fighter, to be honest. He's going to be good on the feet. He's good on the ground, and he's good everywhere. He's in Cage Warriors for a reason. He's 8-1 for a reason, and I've got most respect for his ability. But at the end of the day, he's in my way, isn't he? So that's the way I'm taking it. And we're 10 weeks out right now. We're 10 weeks out from the fight, so I'm not too focused on him, because it's so long away. Opponents can change, and he's had a couple of injuries along the way as well. He pulled out the same day. He was meant to fight Josh Reed, and he had weight cut, or he was sick. And that was the day I fought Sam Spencer, and then he pulled out against Dylan Hazan. It's part of the sport. It's just the way it is. I'm not saying that's what he does, but we are still far away. So I'm prepared for the 15th of April, and if Dan's my opponent, then it'll be a good fight for everyone.
I know we spoke about it post-fight as well in Manchester the last time, but look, the crowd you brought down for that, the backing you're getting as well, which a lot of fighters don't get, and I see you sharing it, is that local media, the newspaper around your way, constantly sharing your story, constantly sharing what's going on. And you even got that letter as well from the Scottish MP, your local MP.
Yeah.
To have that sort of backing, what is that like for you, man?
Oh, it's incredible. Like, so when we've fought in, again, we speak about the local shows in Scotland and stuff, I would go and sell like 100. I would sell so many tickets, right? And I'm not even joking, where the promoter would be like, I can't actually give you any more. And I would have so much tickets, people wanting tickets, that other fighters that never filled their allocation, I just gave the tickets to them, gave them the ticket commission, and just, as long as you get the people that I want there, I don't care. That's how it's went. And now that we're doing that on a big scene like Cage Warriors, and Manchester's a long journey for everyone. Like the fight in November, they sold out a section in minutes. And then this fight, there's 2 sections, it's done. And that's not even scratching the surface. That was before the fight was even announced. So It is incredible, and like you said, getting a letter, a recognition from the Scottish Parliament about from winning and getting signed to Cage Warriors it's a huge step forward for a sport that's not even recognised as a sport through like Sport Scotland and stuff. And I don't think, honestly, I don't know if that's ever happened before. So it is amazing, but it's just the beginning, and it's just the beginning of all this support and taking. Everybody keeps saying when's the trips to Vegas and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know if Vegas is ready for mad people from Greenock coming down, but genuinely, like, it gets an extra percentage out of me, and that's what it's all about. And I'm very motivated to go and put a show for everybody that's spending their hard-earned money to come support me, and I'm very grateful that you're pointing that out, because I think it's something that should be highlighted and something that should stand out from everything that's happening.
Yeah, I think it's massively important as well. Like you say, that letter from Parliament in itself speaks volumes. It's same down here in England, where the sport is starting to get recognised now. They've got that recognition, but it's only the start. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's just so important, especially I think for the development and the growth of the sport, for it to be a young person like yourself that's getting that recognition, that the more successful you get, the more successful the sport's going to become ultimately, especially within your area, and the way that you can then go on to inspire these young amateurs coming up to show them, look, this is what I'm getting 9 fights in or 7 fights in. I think it's massive. But yeah, finally then, Reece, before I let you go, if fans somehow managed to miss one of your fights last year, what can they expect from Reece Mcewan performance come Cage Warriors 152?
A laser. What can they expect? What would you say they can expect? I would expect a gritty performance and doing anything to win at all costs. Doing anything to win at all costs. That's what they can expect. An all-rounded performance, every fight, showing good stand-up, showing MMA skills, showing grit, determination, and a desire to win.
Perfect. Reece, that's great. Thank you very much for your time, mate.
Thanks so much. Thank you very much.
Cheers.